where scholars speculate and ordinary people do extraordinary things for reasons they no longer understand. Every August, in the county of Kerry, the people of Killorglin town go up into the wild valleys of the Macalacuddy Reeks, and they go to find and catch the finest puck goat in the mountains, to hoist him high on a platform in the town, from which, bemused by humanity and placated by cabbage, he will, for 3 days, preside in ludicrous sovereignty over what the whole world knows as Puck Fair. These goats belong to old Sean O'Shea, whose poor livelihood they are, and who for years, and for a small consideration, has provided Puck Fair with its symbol, its 3-day king, its mythical goat. What is this Puck Fair? Kerry people themselves say it's just a big fair and cattle market. Others wonder whether or not Puck has a pagan origin. Is it connected with the Feast of Lunasa, held to celebrate the beginning of the harvest? Or a primal rite, etched almost out of memory by centuries of Christianity? Or was the goat introduced by sensible Norman overlords who tried to discipline an existing fair and gave it, as a symbol, an unlikely goat? Thousands flock to Killorglin for Puck Fair because their fathers and ancestors did, to sell cattle, to meet their cousins, to dance with the girls from down the road, or beyond the mountain, or even across the sea. Tourists come from far away to Puck, attracted by some hope of carnival, some hint of fiesta, by something unusual stirring in Kerry, something their modern world can't provide. The mind of Puck himself, we may assume, is free from speculation. They've kept him in his shed for a few days before the fair to accustom him to the change from the rocks and the heather. They've trimmed and manicured him until, beyond all doubt, he's the most elegant billy goat in the length and breadth of the kingdom of Kerry. His 72 hours of glory are at hand. A few, at least, are concerned for the poor creature's comfort. At last, Puck is placed on his triumphal car. A historian talks of what lies behind the revels, Dr. Sean O'Sullivan.
For the origin of Puck Fair, we must go back roughly 800 years to the time that the Normans came to Ireland. Within a couple of hundred years, they had spread their influence and control over most of the country. And in this district here in Kerry, their influence extended all over North Kerry and down as far as the River Main, which is just a few miles from us here at Castlemaine. Now, North Kerry then came to be ruled by the Fitzgeralds. And here in the south, at the back, where Macalacuddy Reeks and Kenmare and West Cork are, that was all under the influence and suzerainty of the McCarthy Moor. Now, the point is that the Lown Valley, just down here near us, is a very good stretch of rich land. And the Geraldines, who controlled North Kerry, wanted to gain control of this valley as well. So they built a castle here in Killorglin, and that was owned later on in the year 1613 by a landlord called Jenkin Conway. Now, at that time, at the start of the 17th century, during feudal times generally, no fair could be held in any part of the Norman kingdoms except by charter from the king. So in the year 1613, Jenkin Conway of the castle here got permission from the King of England to hold a fair here in Killorglin. And that was the start of this fair that we have here now. We know nothing at all as to why a goat is put up here, but we do know that an animal was often exposed at fairs in both Ireland and other countries as a symbol. You see, when a fair was allowed to be held by charter, a symbol was always put up to mark the time at which the fair might open. And this symbol was allowed to remain up for the whole extent of the fair. Now here in Ireland we know of 4 fairs altogether where an animal was exposed, like the puck goat here. In Phoic in County Tipperary, in Mullinavat in County Kilkenny, and at Greencastle near Carlingford in County Down. So we see that the exposure of an animal at a fair is not something unique.
My name is Eileen Moriarty and I live in Killorglin. This is my first time being the Queen.
And how did Eileen become Queen?
Well, I told my daddy that if I don't be Queen this year, I will never be the Queen. And I suppose that is how I was the Queen.
The first day of Puck is called the Gathering Day, the second is the Fair Day proper, while the third and final day is known as Scattering Day. The procession and coronation take place in the evening of Gathering Day. Even the Puck stand itself is black with spectators. Friends, no doubt, of the committee. The climax of this carefully planned ritual is at hand. You might think it isn't far removed, maybe, from the pagan festivals of Lunasa, when crowds went at harvest time up to the tops of the mountains to celebrate their age-old gods. Some of these Lunasa feasts, like Crowpatrick, became Christian pilgrimages. Others, like the one associated with a hamlet called Killorglin, very near Killorglin, have disappeared without trace. If Puck Fair had a pre-Christian origin, then Killorglin was where it all began. But the most recent academic opinion is that Puck Fair has no pagan roots and that, as Dr. O'Sullivan has said, it doesn't go back beyond Norman times. All stand by as strong-armed men prepare to hoist Puck to his glory. This is the moment thousands have gathered to witness.
Now to the hoisting of the puck. This process will be done slowly and carefully, little by little. Slowly.
There he stands at last, all set for 3 days of solitary grandeur. And it's hurrah for the Puck so gay, for he's the powerful fella. Wind and rain don't touch his tail, for his thick hair is long and yellow. But there's little time for ballad and verse during the cattle fair of the second day. Puck Fair, after all, is basically a fair, the biggest cattle and horse fair in Kerry. Bargains are struck by hard-minded men. Business must come before revelry. Hard cash has always played an important part in Puck, from the Normans who founded the fair down to the farmers who keep it alive to this day. if the right bargains have been struck, there might be some cash to spare, and there's no shortage of ways to spend it or lose it. All the barkers and spielers of the fairground are here, the roulette men as busy as any. It's not the wildest imaginable gambling, but maybe there's a hint of recklessness here, some slight suggestion of Puck's legendary spirit.
American Bazaar with a cut of jumping giraffe. You can pick or choose or select any prize you like. You have 4 numbers again for sixpence. On this American Bazaar, you can pick or choose or you can select any prize you like. Now, any prize or article that you like off at the table, board or stone. Now, who wants this lot? Anybody here? 4? I've got 4 lots here again. 4 lots.
Much good fine talk will do you if you haven't got money to spend. If, for instance, the pig fair has gone against you and you're left with a litter of bonhams whose profit would have paid for the new coach your wife wants or paid the overdue installments on the tractor, there's no romance in pigs, but there's good money in bacon. The patient cart horses, with luck, won't have to take back the pigs they brought into Puck, but they might have to wait until their farmer owners have had a pint or two, or maybe now a turn on the helter-skelter. There's the tradition of fun and merriment, but there's still another business aspect of Puck at the horse fair, and a good horse fair it is too. Horse tanglers and farmers meet. There'll be Sheridans there, the greatest horse dealers of them all. They'll all be there, all the men who can really judge a good animal.
No, you won't get it.
I just give 50.
You won't get it. £50 I won't get it.
£60 will be the price. Go on.
You'll divide 10, Mrs. Evans. You'll divide 10 there with him, 65. 55.
I'll give him 50.
No. £60 will be the price if you want to buy.
Can we get £60 for him?
£60 will be the
Then I'll
price.
give her a fiver for luck. You'll give her a fiver for luck and give over that. Give her a fiver for luck.
55, you'll give me the fiver out.
Yeah, whatever money.
£60.
You'll give her a fiver back out of that. That'll be the price of £55. Come on, ma'am, you'll take him.
I'll give him 55 in the 5 out.
Puck Fair wouldn't be Puck Fair without its tinkers. They come to Killorglin from all over Ireland and give Puck the name of being as much a tinker festival as anything else. Until recently, they brought their tents and caravans right into the town until the county council banned them.
Well, I am a member of the local committee of Puck Fair and a member of the Kerry County Council. The council's stand on this issue of the inhabitants parked on the bridge and on the side of the Killarney Road were very clearly defined in 1960. Due to representations made by the people of this town to the county council, the county medical officer of health at that time investigated the hygienic conditions under which these people lived, and he reported back to the council that they were indeed very unsatisfactory. After that, the county engineer investigated the traffic conditions, and they were very chaotic before, during and after Puck. Especially during Puck, when you had all these caravans along the side of the road and kids liable to run across the road at any particular time, like, you know, no control kept over them very much. It was highly dangerous. A motion came up under the normal notice of motion at the council asking that a prohibition area be set up, and this was done in late 1960, I think it was. It was done under the Local Government Sanitary Services Act of 1948, and this prohibition order prohibited the erection of temporary dwellings within 3/4 of a mile of the Garda barracks in any direction around town.
And how do the travelling people feel about being treated as second-class citizens?
The name is Michael O'Brien. I'm a horse dealer. And this fair has a big hindrance to us with the past 5 years. At the moment now, we has already been put up on the old railway grounds in Killorglin. And from there, any of the passing public is they don't see much of the caravans or even what is going on. They know very little at all if there is any caravan to be seen. And it may not appear that way towards the people of Killorglin because they know they're there, but it can appear in many thousand ways to the foreigner, which is visiting those places during those occasions. So we would be grateful to the people of Killorglin or to anybody which would come under that to do as to bring back this parking site to the bridge at Killorglin as we once used to be at.
And what about local residents? How do they feel? The Norman family of Sir Desmond Fitzmaurice have lived round Killorglin for 700 years.
You'll see their caravans in gay colours bordering the River Lown, and they were all over the place. Sometimes almost too much so. For instance, you might wake up one morning and find 20 horses in a field of turnips. Well, that wasn't, of course, quite so popular, but I suppose really the damage that was done might have been exaggerated. But in a way, I'm sorry to see so few tinkers now at Puck Fair, because they were undoubtedly a very colourful feature of the place.
Well, the initterns, or the tinkers as we call them more often, they are colourful enough. They did have very colourful parades. So the big problem with them is that they tend to be a little bit on the unhygienic side, like, and the local committee anyway feel that we'd like to bring the Puck Fair into modern ideas.
Well, if you're too young to be interested in dancing, the wheel of fortune still turns on into the night. If you fancy ice cream, it's a rare delicacy at 3 a.m., but there is a more popular way of cooling off. At Puck, there's not in fact much drunkenness. The town's publicans may make a fortune, but it doesn't go to their heads.
I'm a publican in Killorglin for the last 50 years. My people were in business before me. Public houses in Killorglin are open for the 3 days and 3 nights of Puck Fair. No closing. That exemption has been granted for years and years and years. There's never been any objection to it. And of course it suits us down to the ground, because we are able to lay out our premises for a 3-day and 3-night trade. We employ a good many hands, and our customers are really well catered for. From the point of view of business, Puck is a very big matter to people in the town, publicans and shopkeepers. Generally speaking, the average pub would turn over as much for the 3 nights of Puck, 3 days and 3 nights of Puck, as he would turn over between 5 to 6 weeks normally. And now there's one thing about Puck Fair. Nobody ever complained about overcharging in Puck Fair. We don't add a penny extra for the 3 days of the fair to our ordinary prices. Our prices are the same throughout the fair as they are all year round. And I think most of the customers appreciate that. The principal reason that we don't charge any extra prices in Puck Fair is that there's an old tradition there that's going on so long. We don't think it's necessary to do it at all. You get a meal in the town today, the same as you'll get it in the middle of winter, with the same price. And it's the same with the pubs. There's no such thing as an extra penny put on anything. And I think our customers appreciate that very, very much. Well, I've often asked myself the question, what brings people to Puck? And people who come always say they'll come back again. I don't know what the attraction is, but there is a different attraction.
Killorglin has no factories and just one industry, Puck Fair. It was there before any of us remember, and from the looks of things, King Puck will reign at Killorglin for many a year to come.